We are now recording.
Awesome. Patience and Fortunate, I'll kick it back to you to welcome everyone this morning.
Thank you very much, Barbara, and welcome, Barbara and Kate and all participants. We know time has moved. We are almost coming to the end of our training. We've done a number of webinars, and we are happy again to meet today and to continue the journey. And this is our hope that in facilities and in labs, work is going on. Our 60-day projects are ongoing. And let's participate, let's learn, let's ask questions. We are very fortunate to have Barbara and Kate with us, and they always bet success. So let's take advantage of them. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Patience. Could you please make me a co-host? This is Katie.
Noted, Kate.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Patience. And I also want to say welcome. And this morning I have an icebreaker for us. So if you will help me out this morning, I'm going to ask you to type into your chat box where you are calling in from this morning. City and perhaps area of the country. So type into the chat box. We're going to give you 2 minutes to type into the chat box. It's 5:02 by my time. Type into the chat box where you're calling in from this morning so we can find you on the map today. Spencer says he's calling in from Mazawi. Sholotso says Thomas. Renaya says Harare. Tendai, Harare. Edson, Harare. Tony says Kadoma. Jackie, good morning, Jackie. Good to see you there. It's good to see some familiar names. Patience is in Bulawayo this morning. Ria is in Mount Darwin, Karanda. Ramana, hey, good morning, Ramana. Katayas, help me with pronouncing your name. I know you're going to share with us a little bit later today, name of the location there. You can open your mic. Is it Hayana? Hayana? All right. So it's 5:04 by my time. So thank you all for Lupani. Yes, I'm going to hear from some of these locations later today. Looking forward to that. Delani, excellent. Great to have you guys on. All right, well, so for today, I thought I would share with you where Katie and I are calling in from today. Katie is in Atlanta, Georgia, and I am in, usually, Jacksonville, Florida. So that's where we're calling in from this morning. So welcome. Now it's time. I'm going to stop sharing a minute. We're going to turn on our cameras and we're going to grab a screenshot. It looks like we've got 25 people online this morning. So go ahead and turn on your camera. Let us see. Edson, hello. Romana, Edward, Renaya, Katayas, Tony, Jackie, Japhet. Japhet, good to see you. Blessings. I see the cameras coming on. Okay, let's see if we can get everyone on my screen on. Gertrude, I see you there. Chippewa, Spencer, go ahead and turn your cameras on. Tony, Suzanne. Hi, Suzanne. Good to see you. Zabusiso, and awesome. Okay, so I think I've got as many as I can get now. So everyone, if your camera's on, smile, wave. I'm gonna grab a photo. Okay, awesome, awesome. 1, 2, 3, snap. Okay, very good. Well, it is great to see everyone today. I'll get the picture saved. There we go. And I will go back to sharing my screen. So we're glad to have people calling from around the country and around the world. So our goal is to make quality improvement time the best part of your work week. I mean, we can't compete maybe with your off time, but we try to make this fun, engaging, and a learning opportunity. I do thank you for your feedback. This is the feedback we got last week. 23 people gave us some feedback, and most of you agreed that the time was adequate, you were satisfied, the content was helpful, some strongly agreed, so we appreciate that. I just want to highlight on a couple of comments that were given last week. And so many good ideas. The couple that we are able to follow up on, a case study that's properly done, that is just completed, hot off the press, and then presentations to be pre-recorded to avoid challenges of the poor network. That's a great idea. We do have a coach that is recording about how she works with her teams to do PDSAs, and so we're looking forward to that next week. We're meeting, yes, again, next week. And then this introduction connections, a case study, just is going up on the website in the introduction section. It's 0.5, a case study. So I hope you'll be able to tune into that as a video, and hopefully will give you an overview of how a completed case looks. And this is from another place far, far away. And we wanted to give a shout out to our coach from Matari Provincial Hospital Laboratory last time. Really appreciated that. We always get great feedback. And also Judith from She Clinic. We really appreciate you all sharing. Again, people love it when they hear from their colleagues. So thank you so much. Here's where we're headed today. We'll move on next to the scorecard, then we'll move to look at our update on our baseline data, and we hope that's continuing to come in. And then we have almost an hour in the center part of the call for talking about PDSAs and listening to your colleagues share. We have 4 teams ready to share today, so we're going to move quickly through that so we can hear from everyone, and they're going to be sharing what PDSAs they have tried. So we really look forward to that, and then we'll talk about looking ahead a little bit. So we do ask if the faculty can stay by for a short debrief after the meeting today. And we're always beginning with the end in mind, measurable results. That is our goal. We've moved through all these deliverables, the defined deliverables, the define, measure, and analyze deliverables for the next week. Improve deliverables. The test of change, the 5S, and the just do it were assigned previously. And today we're moving on with more test of change and then getting to that standard work and the future state map. So here's where we are. And as Patience mentioned, we are very, very near the end of our projects. So today we encourage you to finish up the videos. I encourage me to get the videos uploaded so you can finish them up. And then more test of change, moving on to when you've found a test of change that's working well for you, how are you going to standardize it? And how are you going to produce the future state map? I remind you, PDSAs are not one and done. Those are, we move through them and continue cycles of learning. And I remind you to tune over and check out the LARC videos on the LARC website. These videos are available under the IMPROVE. And as I shared with you, we just added one. It should be uploaded today on the case study. And they're located at larkcqi.org. Now, next week, a week from today, we are having another webinar because we just want opportunity for so many of you to be able to share the work you're doing, the PDSAs that you're testing and trying and what you're learning. This is what a learning collaborative is all about. So we're excited to meet again next week. And then we'll have a break where you can continue to work on finalizing your project. And then we'll have some closing sessions where we'll share some completed ones. So if we can go ahead and get those in, the sooner the better, because we're meeting again next week. So we'd like some other teams to be able to share what they've done. So with that, I will turn it over to Fortunate and Patience to share with us where we are in our LARC scorecard.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's Fortunate here. So we're going to our scorecard for this week. Okay, yes. Okay. So looking at IHI completion by organization for the coaches, there hasn't been much change. It's still the same from the previous webinar. So there hasn't been much change there. And then the webinar attendance over time by coaches. If you look at our graph, you will see that the webinar attendance keeps declining every week from all the coaches or all the partners. I'm not sure what is happening there. Our last webinar for the 27th of April, there were 17 participants out of 36 from Zimtech, and we had 8 out of 38 from Ministry of Health. OFID, we had 11 out of 30. ZASH, there were 13 out of 18, and ZHI, we had 3 out of 13. And we had 4 out of 6 from HFSI, FHI 360. So on trying to find out, you'll find that most people still complain or cry about connectivity issues. You will see in the chat box also, even people today are complaining of connectivity issues. So at times this is really beyond us, but we are hoping that maybe if people can plan ahead and ensure they go somewhere where connectivity is better, so that people are able to attend our webinars every week. Going on to the next slide on pre-work submission by coaches. These past 2 weeks, pre-work submission has really been very poor. I'm not sure if it's because people are not sure about the test for change, because we're doing the worksheets on test for change and the quiz on improve. So when you look at the test for change, really there's been very poor response. And I'm happy today we're going to look at 4 case studies. So maybe after this, we're going to have more people trying to improve on their test for change. I would want to believe maybe it's more of not understanding what people are expected to do. So I'm happy, Barbara, when you go through the test for change for these 4 participants, if we can explain in detail what is expected, looking at what people have submitted and correcting, so that we have more people submitting their tests of change. When you look at our graph, you'll find that with Zimtech, with only 6 coaches out of 36 submitting a complete presentation on test for change. Some of the presentations were incomplete. So please remember, I'm only talking about the complete presentations here. I know some people might say we submitted our presentation, but they were not complete, especially on the test for change, which is what we're looking at. And only 4 out of 36 have submitted their quiz on the IMPROVE videos. I'm not sure if it's because people have not watched the videos, but we did send the videos again on the WhatsApp group. They were uploaded. We sent the link on the lab website, but also on the WhatsApp group, you downloaded the videos. So please go ahead and watch and answer your quiz on IMPROVE. From Ministry of Health, only had 5 people sending in their complete presentations on Test for Change. And we had 8 from OFID, 7 from ZACH, and only 1 from ZHI, and none from FHI 360. So I think you can see also where you are. There is really need to work hard on this, because we really need to look at these tests for change and also the pre-work on IMPROVE. So maybe faculty also, when we talk about this at the end, we need to see how we can get our coaches working on these deliverables. I think that was the last slide. Thank you, unless back to you, Barbara, unless if there are any questions before I stop sharing. Hello.
Thank you, Fortunate.
Okay.
So I think the next on our agenda is Japhet to share with us the update in the baseline data. So Japhet, I'll turn the time over to you.
Okay, thank you, Barbara. Morning to you all, and afternoon to Katie and Barbara. So I'll walk you through the baseline data, but I think in the coming weeks, we'll be sharing the implementation data so that you can also have a comparison of the baseline and the implementation for the few months that we have been testing changes or implementing. So looking at the baseline submission, there has been some movements in terms of facilities that have reported baseline. Again, we still have a bit of some challenges in Manicaland and Midlands, but we have engaged the relevant stakeholders so that we have outstanding data, and we are also in communication with the coaches that still having some challenges with baseline data, but I think there has been some movements in that regard. Looking at, so this is for the facility teams, looking at the hubs, yes, we still have a bit of some challenges in terms of my apologies. I think I've shared the old slide. Just a moment. Sorry for that. Okay, yeah, now I was getting worried why the submission rates are still at 72%. So for the facilities, the submission rates are now at 80%. Just a few facilities that are still lagging behind the Manicaland and the Midlands, but we are almost there in terms of the submission rates. Looking at the facilities, the hubs, there's also been some improvement, especially in Marsh East, Marsh Central, and Marsh North, where they have reported some, where the coaches from those districts have reported some data. Then looking at the testing hub, we have an overall 50% submission rate for the testing lab. Now moving on, I'll skip this slide, which just gives us the picture. I think I shared it in the previous presentation, where we were saying that the average performance for 2020 was around 61% nationally in terms of viral load coverage. But looking at our performance, there has been some movement in terms of meeting time, in terms of sample collection to those that reach the testing lab. They are still at 61%, but again, the facilities that you have submitted, I think we have 80% of the size that you have submitted their baseline data. I think I will spend more time on the data from the lab. So we have received the data sets from the lab, and we have worked with teams to analyze based on the input and feedback from Katie and Barbara and the other stakeholders. So this slide is basically looking at the pre-analytic TAT for the hubs that are participating in the CLI. So we analyzed data for 30 district hubs that are participating. Again, the denominator, we are looking at the viral load samples that reached the testing lab, and our numerator are the samples that met the pre-analytic TAT, which is 6 days. So looking at our average performance, it was around 53%. But again, if you look at from week 8, that is end of November, trickling into December, our performance went down to around 19% in terms of viral load coverage. I think that was the time that we were also being affected by the COVID-19, but I think it gives just an indication in terms of our viral load coverage, our pre-analytic TAT. And the output, the data source for this metric, we use data from LIMS. Then, so the way we analyze the data, we separated whole blood plasma and DBS, so that we have an appreciation in terms of where the bottlenecks are, so that as coaches are coming up with their interventions, they are in sync with where the challenges are or where the bottlenecks are. So we try by all means to separate the two, so that we come up with, or we tailor make our changes in line with where the need is. So this one is now looking at pre-analytic TAT for the DBS samples. And again, the turnaround time is for the period October to December, it was very, very low, with an average of around 1%. So most of our samples are reaching the testing lab in more than 6 days. So my humble submission to the coaches from the hubs is that as we are coming up with our interventions, as we are implementing QI, let's be on the lookout of the TAT, the pre-analytic TAT for the DBS samples, because they are taking forever for them to reach the testing lab. I'm sure as you are coming up with some interventions, I think you have to identify where the bottlenecks are. Is it the integrated sample transportation system that is not in place? Is it the samples are taking they are taking a bit of some time at the facility? I think these are some of the things that you'll be working on as part of implementation. But I just wanted to mention it that we have a bit of a challenge when it comes to pre-analytic TAT for the DBS samples. Now moving on to the testing labs. If you look at the overall TAT, so the overall TAT, the way we analyzed it, we are looking at from sample collection up until the results reach the facility. But again, since we are using data for this particular slide, we are using data from LIMS, we didn't have a data point where we were tracking the date when the samples were reached the facilities. So what we did, we fixed the post-analytic time, or in other words, we used the pre-analytic time to estimate the post-analytic TAT. What I'm explaining here is that if the samples took 5 days from the site to the testing hub, we'll assume that the results will also take the same time to reach the facility. So that's how we ended up having a compromise in coming up with the post-analytic TAT. But again, the same challenges that we faced with the pre-analytic for the hub is also the same that we also faced with the overall TAT, where in week 8 and week 12, we experienced a dip in terms of performance. Then this is the performance for DBS. Again, we still have some challenges. Our mean is around 22%. So as coaches, I think we should be on the lookout for the DBS. Then the last slide is now looking at the TAT based on data from LIMS. So from the transmittal sheets. So from October, we had 16 sites that submitted transmittal sheets with complete data. November, 91 sites, and December, we had 80 sites that completed, that submitted data, and which was complete, which we could analyze. But looking at the data, I think it's almost all the clients could not meet, the results that reached the facility could not meet the targeted TAT, and I think something that we have to look into as the coaches, as the faculty, and as the PMT, to try to tease out where are the problems that are led to around 0% in terms of viral load samples that made the TAT. I think in summary, that's the update from the performance management desk. Over.
Wow, Japhet, that is that's important data, sort of eye-opening, isn't it? So Japhet said something very important. I hope you all picked up on that. He said, when the data is not coming in like we want it to, when it doesn't meet our targets or our goals, then we simply head back to that process mapping. We look at our process and we say, where are the bottlenecks? Then we ask, what are the main causes of this problem? And then we focus those changes to address the main causes, such a link through all of our tools that we've used thus far, and why it's been important to continually build your projects using the tools, understanding your problem, deciding what are the main causes of the problems, and then really designing those tests of change to address those. All right. So I am so excited today that we have 4 teams that are going to present. I see some challenges in the chat box about the internet. So let's just hope that we're all able to share and present and hear from the coaches today. So here are the coaches and that we're going to hear from today, and the order that I have suggested, and we'll see if we're able to get Katias online to begin with. Then Alessi, then Dulani, and then Jackie. So we really are grateful for you all for sending your PDSAs in and sharing them with us today, because that's how we will learn. So I'm asking everyone the exact same questions. Simply tell us in your own words what change you tested. What did you actually do when you tested that change? And if you have some of this background information on the change, says sharing is paused. Can you all see my screen?
Barbara, we are looking, could you please put on presentation mode?
I have it on presentation mode, but let me try again.
Barbara, there is a question in the chat box from Thomas. I don't know if you, because it's about Japheth's data. I don't know if you want to address that now.
Yeah, that'd be great. Japheth, can you see the question, or Katie, can you read it to Japheth, and I will see if I can get my sharing.
So Thomas wanted to ask Japheth about the post TAT on results dispatch assumptions. I think that's the mirror image of the pre. Perhaps, so Thomas, feel free to unmute yourself, maybe expand on what you typed so that Japheth is clear on what you are asking.
Hi, Katie, thank you. So I think the question is simple, as in, I think you talked about that mirror number of days that they are looking at from the time the samples now reaches the testing lab. Now they are saying the assumption is those are the same days that they are using probably to then have the samples going back. But I'm not sure because this is probably from the TAT, from the patient, maybe from the receiving patient side, the green books, where we are having also some challenges when the results get back to the hub, and then they take longer, possibly because the testing has not been happening and they came in batches, and then the lab takes longer than expected. So I'm also thinking in terms of DQA, and we are saying we want to know really what is happening. I'm not sure whether that reflection of that mirror image will be the same as within in the return way. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas, for the question. Again, I asked him to highlight that, as we have said, it's an assumption based on saying the same way the sample we received the sample the same way the results are sent. And this is basically mirroring what is happening at facilities. Yes, there can be bottlenecks in terms of the documentation of results at the facility, and we are happy with the facility teams looking at those bottlenecks when they are looking at their coverage, when they calculate their coverage. So, and remember what we said is, if we have transmitter registers being implemented, that's our best source of our TAT. And we say it from the baseline, we don't have, as Japhet has presented, we don't have a good number of the transmitter registers, but we have distributed in the same period to 350 lakh facilities the registers, to increase the sample size of the transmitter registers that we can get. So as we are implementing our 60-day project or our LAC project, we are also implementing the transmitter register, and we should then be able to use that data to demonstrate both the pre, the intra-lab and the post-analytic. Just to say, you highlighted that sometimes the turnaround is also affected by the lab stockout. That is then measured with the intra-lab TAT. So you will see that our TAT is broken down into phases. We have our pre-analytic, in which is divided from the sample being collected to the time it's received at the hub and to the time it's received at the testing lab. And then we have our intra-lab, where the time it takes the lab to test, and our post, which is basically the facility receiving the results. And there are several interventions that we are targeting. I hope it clarifies your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Patience. Thomas gave us a thumbs up. Awesome. So are you seeing my screen that says teams to present PDSAs now?
Yes.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, so here are the 4 teams that are going to present today. We're looking forward to hearing from you all, and we hope that the network challenges don't preclude us. So the questions, I'm asking you all the same question. We're really going to focus on your PDSAs, the changes that you're testing today. So describe the change that you tested. What did you actually do? And you can do in your own words. And then if you can share a little bit with why did you choose this change? You know, you could have chosen several changes. So what led you to select this change? Was it something that you learned through the process, maybe your voice of customer or during process mapping? So how did you choose this change to test? And then what results did you get? Because when you test a change, of course, we want to know if you are able to get results. And then what did you learn? PDSAs are not about perfection, but they're about learning. So those will be our questions for today. And of course, the lab aim statements are to increase the proportion of viral load samples that reach the targeted turnaround times. And we are starting with Hayana District Lab, Katayas. And so Katayas, if you are here, if you could open your mic and say hello to us this morning.
Hello to everybody.
Ah, Katayas, wonderful. We can hear you very well.
Thank you.
So I'm seeing this picture of your beautiful setting. What a lovely setting. I see the mountains there. And I see that you're part of a laboratory there. You have about 5,000 clients on ART. And your viral load coverage is around 24% and your suppression is around 88%. I see a great looking team there, looking awesome there. So thank you for sharing your team photo. And so we'll just jump right into the PDSA and we'll ask you to share with us what change you're testing. So tell us what you tested.
Okay, once again, good morning, everyone. All right, yes, on a district level, the change we actually tested was the change to see if our riders were adhering to their planned schedule, which was this, because if you look at our fisherborne, as we're analyzing the problems, we have discovered that one of our major challenges was of the unreliable transport system, where samples clinics could collect samples, but those samples were not picked from the clinics to the hub lab and then transported to the testing lab. So when we started this project, where we wanted to improve on our viral load samples that reached the testing lab within turnaround time of 6 days, we decided to have this as our effort to have a planned schedule for our riders, and that is what we did.
So did you have a planned schedule before, or this is a new test that you're
We didn't actually have this planned schedule before. What we used to do was that when clinics have samples, they were going to contact our riders that they've got samples, and the rider could go and collect that samples. But we've discovered that because of connectivity problems in some of the clinics could not reach the riders to tell them that they've got samples. So by the time maybe they get access to the rider, the turnaround time will be greater than 6 days. So what we have now come up with is that this schedule, the rider schedule, have to be followed despite the fact that the clinics have to advise the rider that they've got samples. But it is now the riders who are going to the samples to pick and to look and to pick up for the samples.
okay? All right. So what results did you get? Share with us.
Okay. After we've implemented this test or this project, what we did for the period of 1st of April to the 23rd of April, there are about 313 viral load samples which were collected from our various clinics. And out of the 213 viral load samples which were collected, 182 of them reached the testing lab within the turnaround time of 6 days, which translates to 85.5%. This is a rise from the 68% to 85%, though our target is 95. But we believe if we finish up and clean up our system, that target of 95 is achievable.
Wow. Well, I'm going to say that we're giving you a shout out. Kudos to you for moving that percentage up. And then I will also ask you, what did you learn when you implemented this test?
Okay. First and foremost, what we have learned, we actually have learned 3 things. Number 1, we've learned that communication is vital. And when I'm talking about communication, we have created a WhatsApp group with our clinics, which we cover. And that WhatsApp group is specifically for viral load samples, where we communicate issues related to viral load samples. And so it's like every day or every time we communicate with the clinics, the riders, and the testing hub lab, the hub lab, to find out if there are any clinics which have got challenges in transportation of their samples or in collection of the samples. So we are always communicating with our clinics, and even when they have collected samples, they just speak, they just say it on the group that we have collected samples. So the rider knows that when he visit that clinic in the scheduled plan or route, he is expecting to get some samples from that clinic. And then the second thing we've learned that teamwork is important, because the teamwork which I'm referring to comprises the lab, the riders, and the clinics. So all of us, the clinics, those people, those nurses who are in direct contact with the patients, the lab and the riders, we work together. The clinics, the nurses collect the samples, the riders goes to collect the samples, the hub lab process the samples. That is, we separate the plasma and send them to the testing lab. We are just working as a team. And the third thing we learned is commitment. We need to commit, to have commitment to this program so that it is a success.
Wow. Excellent, excellent. So I take it that you might recommend these things to your colleagues who are listening in today.
Yes. Indeed, I will share them I will share with them everything.
Excellent. So then for this test, you're definitely going to adopt it. Are there some changes that you picked up, because you're still not quite at your 95%? So are there some modifications that you'll do, or will you accept this? So anytime we come to the end, we're going to ask, are we going to adopt, standardize, adapt, maybe make some modifications, or abandon? Now I can tell you're not going to abandon it, but are there some modifications that you need to test when you're going through the next cycle?
Well, I think they are. And maybe one thing I've just omitted on the teamwork, we also have some partners in the district like ZHI. So what we have done and how we are working with ZHI is that ZHI is also assisting and playing a role in the transportation of our samples from the clinics to the hub, and from the hub to the testing lab. So in our next round of in our testing for change in the next round, we are also going to check the effectiveness of the transportation system of our lab, our samples from the hub lab now to the testing lab, because it should also complement the transportation of samples from the clinic to the hub. So we are going to look into that as well. And at the same time, or maybe in the near future, we are going also to look in the transportation and movement of the results now from the testing lab back to the collecting site, so that every client should have his or her result.
So you've already identified some other things you want to work on. That's awesome.
Yes, we have.
So this was my question, was there no schedule before? And you answered that. I'll also suggest that when you design a test of change, you want to make a prediction, like how much do you think this will help? So you may want to add that in and then clarify what you're going to do at the end. So those were my additional comments. And then it looks like you have perhaps started another test of change. So share with us how that one is coming.
Okay, another test of change which we have now started, or we are starting to do, as I said, is to see or to check whether the contracted courier who was contracted to take the samples from the testing hub to from the hub to the testing lab. And now what we have seen and what we are observing is that it's no longer the contracted courier who is transporting these samples. We also have our hospital vehicles. Once they are going in Mutare, from where the testing lab is, they have to carry the samples. We've also put a system where by every Friday, if there are still outstanding samples which have not been taken to the testing lab, samples we are still at the hub, our riders are going to take them to Mutare. So it is another change we are going to test to see its effectiveness. That we want to check that by every Friday, all the samples which have been collected and transported to the hub lab are transported or are carried or transferred to the testing lab, and still they have to reach with the testing lab within 6 days from the date of collection.
Okay. Well, if people have questions, you can certainly type them in the chat box. But I want to give you a shout out. Thank you so much for sharing today. Any comments or questions? I'll leave it open just for a minute or two here. And Katie, maybe you can look in the chat box and see if there are any comments or questions. But we really want to thank you for taking the time to share your work. And I want to encourage you to continue to test changes. Any comments or questions? Okay, so Katie gave you a thumbs up. So awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
So we are going to move on to some clinics. And of course, the clinic aim statement is that we'll increase the proportion of eligible patients whose viral load samples have been received by the lab. So now we're going to go on to Mokoba Polyclinic, and that's Inalesi Jengi. And is Inalesi able to join us online and open your mic? Patients, maybe you can check with Inalesi and see if they are able to join. If not, we could move to Delani Moyo at the Lupani Rural Health Center.
Yeah, she's still trying to connect.
Barbara, can we have the next one? She's still trying to connect.
Okay, let's do that. All right, the Lupani Rural Health Center, Delani Moyo. I know that I had seen some concerns about connecting earlier. How are things going for you? Delani, are you able to join in? Oh, I saw Delani. I saw your video. That looked great.
Tulani is still online. You can go ahead, Tulani.
Yeah, the camera came on. Ah, hello. Can you turn your mic on?
Hi.
Hello. Oh, this is fabulous. We can hear you and see you. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Welcome.
So you also shared a picture of your clinic there. You told us you have about 1,600 patients on ART, and you're collecting about 15 samples a month. And you also sent us a picture of your team, so that's awesome. Great to see that. And then you shared with us your project summary, and you said you were going to track all clients as soon as they missed an appointment, but maybe we can talk about that in a minute. So let's look at your change that you are testing. Can you tell us, and I'll ask the same 3 questions, tell us about, in your own words, what changes you are testing. in your facility?
Oh, okay. So when we started our project, we realized that we are collecting our viral load samples anytime. It's due to quite a number of reasons. Sometimes we don't have resources for collecting viral load. And then when we get them, we just have to collect anyone who's due. So then we sat down as a team and we decided that we want to collect our samples on time. So what we had to do was to flag all our OI booklets and to see those who are eligible in that particular month, that is March and April, and we had to track them. Our area has network problems. Not all clients that have access to network, so we had to use community health workers and try to call them to come for viral load collection. So we decided it is a team that we're going to line list our clients. After line listing them, those with network access, we're going to send SMSs, and those who did not have network access, we had to do home visits, and we ensure that they come for viral load collection. So before we started doing that, we were at 13% for those who were collecting on time. So when we started our project and we started implementing what we'd agreed as a team, we are now at 21%. It's a tortoise pace, but we are very much confident that we are going to reach our destination.
Okay, so you told me about the results you got. What did you learn when you tried this test? Share with us, if you can, some lessons that you learned and what worked and what didn't work.
All right. The first lesson that we learned is that it's very important to include the final beneficiary of all these services in mapping a way forward in giving our services. So we had to discuss, and when we're discussing with our clients, I mean those who were due that we managed to reach out to, we then discovered that some of them, they didn't quite know the importance of having their viral load collected annually, and some of them were confusing it with CD4 count. So we had to sit down and explain, and we saw that when we're giving them information and we are explaining and it's a discussion, we are getting results, and we are even seeing these other clients who are due, though it's not their time, those who have not had their viral load collected in the previous year, coming in because they've seen us moving around, talking to the clients, calling them in for viral load collection. And we also had to cut on their distances or even reaching it to them in outreaches. So we really learned that there's teamwork is important, so that they also take responsibility of their health. They are also able to see that I am late for my review. I haven't had my viral load collected, but it's already my month for viral load collection, and they are actually coming up.
Wow, so that there's some, I hear there that there are some new tests that you may want to put in place or test around engaging your clients and empowering them and activating them. So that's a very important important lesson to learn, and probably something that you'll want to test and add into your clinic. There may be some folks online who have worked on client education before. So patients, if I can ask you all, perhaps you can help share some information that some of our other teams have maybe learned about the education, maybe some materials that you might be able to share with this clinic, because we are a learning collaborative. So the more that we can share, other teams might have found things that are working well as the education goes. So hopefully we can get some information to you as well there in your clinic. So I wanted to give you a shout out for your outreach model. You really are thinking about the client. Oh my goodness. So you're really thinking about the client, and that shows a true commitment to your client. So a shout out for that. And I know that you said in your back in your summary slide that you're going to reach out to patients once they've missed, or clients once they've missed their appointment. But I would encourage you to think as you go forward about being, reaching out to them when it's before their appointment, before they've missed their appointment. And we may additionally have some things to share with that as well. So we want to give you an applause, a shout out. Thank you so much for sharing today. I'm so glad that you were able to get on. I know you had network challenges before. So we really appreciate you sharing what you've learned and what you're testing. And I hear some more tests of change coming up. So that's excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we've got, should we go back to?
Yes, Annalise is now online.
And let's see,
From
okay.
Overbody.
All right, let's go back then. All right. And Alessi, are you able to open your mic up and your camera if you can? That was awesome to be able to see Thulani. Can you open your mic and say hello to us? Does anyone see?
I can tell she is speaking and she has unmuted herself, but we could not hear it. Well, Annalise, try again, please.
Oh, I see. And Alessi, we see you now. Can we hear you? That's the next question.
No audio, so I'm not really sure what's
Oh, I hear
wrong.
No,
you.
we can hear you
you.
loud and clear.
I hear you. That's awesome. You
I
sound
can't
great.
hear, I can't.
But we hear you.
Mary, uyaona kuti audio I network here or whatever.
So if someone could tell her that we hear her, we do hear her. So that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, now I can hear you.
Ah, fabulous.
Thank you. I'm not sure what was wrong with my computer.
Well, you know technology. We love it when it works.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome. It's so good to hear from you today. So thank you for sending in a photo of your clinic there. You have about 5,126 clients on ART. And so that seems like a big clinic there. Here's your team. Yay. It's great to see your team. So thank you for sharing the photo. And here you had your summary slide. You had started at 64%, and you're wanting to go to 80%. And we had highlighted here the documentation of the viral load in the patient green books. So yeah, once we talk about your test of change, I do have a question for you about that one. A shout out for your 5S. This looks absolutely fabulous. So I had to share your photos. That's awesome work. And you also, a big shout out, you also did your before and after audits. So thank you for sharing that. So we'll get to our test of change and we'll ask you the same questions. Just tell us in your own words what you tested, and then we'll want to know what results you received and then what you learned. So let's start out with what you tested.
Okay, so first of all, after we have done a problem analysis, which is using the fishbone, we're trying to identify where our problem was coming from, why we are not reaching more clients for viral load collection. So we realized that the facilities staff had no appointment for clients who were due for viral load. So it was just by chance to have a patient's viral load collected. So we thought we need to improve that, come up with a system that would allow the facility to know who should be coming on a particular day. So they should have a schedule targeting the number they are supposed to reach. So in other words, we are saying they should know the total number they are supposed to reach in a particular period, so that they can actually tick as the clients come to say the client has come, they then collect the viral load. So we actually tested that using our clients in OI department. So we had different variables in that area. We have males, females, we have adolescents, we have pregnant mothers. So we wanted to make sure as we test the change, we equally involving the clients. So we had 5 pregnant mothers, males, five adolescents, and 5 infants. So we actually had come up with an appointment for all those clients. And we also considered those clients who ever missed an appointment previously, because there was no schedule, there was no system which could allow the facility to pick who is not coming. So we had to actually identify such clients and give them a schedule to see whether they will be able to turn up. So out of the 25 that we started with, only 2 missed their appointments. So it was very easy to immediately make a follow-up, and these clients eventually turned up. So on this indicator, it's about 92% of the clients turned up within the stipulated time. So that would then translate to say, if we take this, adopt this as a system at the facility, it would mean that we will be able to reach the greater proportion of our clients for viral load collection. And with no doubt that we will reach 95% or beyond 80% that we are targeting. So hence we actually adopted this.
Awesome, awesome. So, but you have a large population. So what, how are you going to scale this up so that you're able to reach more of your clients? Will you be able to scale this same system up?
We are actually using client codes, because our clients' visits are scheduled in their codes. So we are trying to reach a manageable number in a particular code. So that because the codes are distributed equally throughout the year. So we are saying for now, how many patients did not receive viral load? So all those patients who did not receive viral load from the beginning of year to date and the previous year, we actually equally divide that number and then see the target that we may reach per week.
Okay. Okay.
So that's how we try to reach our clients.
Well, that's an ambitious plan to put into place to go ahead.
Yeah, I think I've explained how the system is working. So what we actually did with the system was to come up, we utilize the diary, the appointment diary that we use in OI department. So from our facility, they will not load clients in that diary. So they would book any other client for any other service, but not specifically for viral load. So we then taught our staff on how to do the appointment system, how to book the clients, and how to identify missed opportunities, and how to conduct follow-up. So that at the end of the day, they're able to evaluate and see who has missed an appointment, and they immediately institute follow-up and be able to come up with corrective measures. So the nurses in OI department were tasked to be the ones doing the bookings for our clients, because they are the ones who schedule the client visits to the clinic. And we didn't want viral load to be a standalone service. So wanted it to be integrated with other services. So this is how the appointment system is working at the facility.
Wow. Well, I want to applaud you. That's a big undertaking to put a whole appointment system in place when you haven't had one before. But I agree with adopting it. And the nice thing about this collaborative is there's probably, there are probably people who haven't put an appointment system in and probably people who have one. So if there are comments or anything you want to share with Annalise, please feel free to do that. I wanted to give a shout out also for your fishbone, because you did definitely put the problem statement there and came up with some process issues that needed to be resolved. And then you also have one other test of change. So can you tell us about that test of change and what results you got from that one as well? Annalise, are you still connected with us, or did she drop off?
Yeah.
She dropped off. Okay. So it looks like the other change that they were implementing is the client alerts, using this alert stickers in the OI department and also in the patient's card. So was interested to hear, it looks like they tried it with 15 clients and it looks like it worked well. So they also want to standardize that as well. So good to hear this. And like I say, there are probably folks on this call who are already doing that. And then there are some who are not. So this sharing is really great. And we definitely will tap into the Mokobe Polyclinic and hear about that. So a shout out to that team for their work. And thanks to Annalise for getting online and sharing with us today. So we've done Lupani. So now we are going to have one more clinic, and that is the Highfield Polyclinic. And our colleague from our previous LARC implementation, Miss Jackie Samashonga. And so Jackie, if you are online, if you can open up your mic and say hello to us. I saw Jackie earlier.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Jackie.
Jackie is here. Hi, Barbara.
So really good to have you. I love your pictures. You've got nice pictures there so we can envision the clinic. And you've got, let's see, your number of clients on ART is 4,000. And you're collecting about 180 viral load samples a month. Your coverage is 59% and your suppression rate is 92%. So thanks for sharing that data with us. Here is a fabulous looking team. So thank you for sharing that. I see that you've identified the coach, the team lead, and the person who will be doing the data. So thank you for that. Looking at your project summary, and it looks like you started at 38% for your baseline, and you have you want to get to 80%. I was going to give you a shout out for your process map here, and I have to actually come out of presentation mode to show this process map. But what I want you to see here is the length of the process map, the number of steps, and how detailed it is. We're covering counseling, assessment, education. Whoops. So Jackie, a huge shout out for that. And also just a shout out, I noted there's a lot of opportunities for improvement in the last column. So such a well done process table. One of the best I've seen. Katie gave you a thumbs up. So we really wanted to give a shout out for that. And then if I can get back into presentation mode. So I noticed that you captured several opportunities, and this seems to be a rich fishbone as well. So I thought I would share that as well. Also, a 5 whys was done. So really a shout out for that as well. Really trying to understand. And then now we come to your test of change. So share with us same questions that we've had for everyone. What change did you test? Maybe a little bit about why you selected this change. What led you to choose this change over another one? And then what your results are and what you've learned. So I will turn the time over to you. Thank you, Jackie.
Just a quick one, Barbara. Am I able to share my screen so that I can share the updated test of change?
That would be
Thank you.
fabulous. Let me make you a, I'm not the host, so someone else will have to allow me to share.
No, okay.
Well, Barbara, you don't have to be a co-host in order to share your screen, right?
She's
Okay.
doing,
Oh, can people see my screen now?
Yes, we can see it.
I tried to share.
yes, we've got it now. Thank
Okay. Okay.
you. Beautiful.
Okay. So let me skip straight to the test of change. Okay. So the test of change. So our facility name is Highfield Poly, and then our test of change was on the collection of viral load samples at the OIC clinic instead of OPD room 16. Maybe I can just give you a brief process of the facility for you to understand the test of change that we decided to carry out. So at Highfields Poly, we've got an opportunistic or an OI clinic on one side of the facility, and then the OPD, the outpatients department, is on the other side of the facility. So according to our process of what used to happen was that clients would come to the OIC, that's the opportunistic infections clinic, and then they're seen at the opportunistic infection clinic. And if they are due for a viral load patients department, that's where they do bleeding or drawing of viral load samples. So that was the process before. And we noted this during the process mapping. That's when we noticed that clients come to the OIC department and then are referred to OPD for bleeding or viral load. So we noted during that process that some of our clients end up getting lost along the way to room 16 for bleeding, or some do not actually go to room 16 for bleeding. And those were some of the hiccups that we noted. So our test of change was, we decided to prepare a corner in OIC, that's the Opportunistic Infections Clinic, so that we can bleed our clients under the same roof. So we needed to move the equipment for bleeding from the OPD department, that was room 16, to the OIC department. So the person responsible was the viral load focal person, and we wanted to do this by the 23rd of April. And then the list of tasks needed to set up the test of change, we actually needed to redesign the patient flow for clients due for viral load. Like I did mention that clients would come to OIC and then are directed to OPD for bleeding. So now with our test of change under one roof in the OIC department. So we're also going to create a space or corner at OIC for bleeding clients. And we're going to move the equipment from the room 16 OPD, that is the viral load registers, the viral load tubes, the syringes, the cotton wool, spirits, tables and chairs, and move that to OIC department. And the person mainly responsible was the viral load focal person, and that was going to be done by the 30th of April. And then what we predicted would happen when the test is carried out was that viral load sample collection will improve as clients who are due and overdue will be bled at the opportunistic infections clinic under one roof. And that hopefully that no clients that was due for viral load will be missed. And then our measures to determine if the prediction succeeded to the lab versus the clients that were due for viral load sample collection. So at the beginning of the day, or what a plan for the day would actually list the number of viral load samples that the facility was expecting to collect on that particular day. And then at the end of the day, we would compare that with the actual number of viral load samples that we managed to actually collect on that particular day. And then describing what actually happened when we ran the test. Clients that were flagged and due for viral load were bled for viral load throughout the day, and no client who was due for viral load sample collection left the facility without having their sample drawn. And then we described the measure, the result of how they compared to the predictions. All clients that were due for viral load sample collection that came for drug pickup had a viral load sample drawn, irrespective of the time that the client arrived at the facility. That included afternoon samples. They were collected and taken to the local lab for storage in the local lab refrigerator and were transported to BRIDH lab the following day. And we also noted that there was an increase in the number of viral load samples collected when the viral load sample bleeding was moved to OPD versus was moved to OIC versus from samples being collected at OPD. In terms of figures, the week before we moved the viral load sample collection to OIC, the week before we had collected 48 samples out of 63 samples that was supposed to be collected. And then after we moved the viral load to OIC, we managed to collect 53 samples out of 55 samples that were booked for that day or that had to be collected on that day. So as a team, we decided to adopt and standardize the movement from OPD to OIC for collection of viral load samples and have all services, all OI art services under one roof at OI clinic. I just want to move on, sorry, to the lessons learned. We learned that by moving viral load sample collection from OPD to OIC, it was easier to identify clients who were due and overdue for viral load bleeding as the clients presented themselves and were able to review their documents with the client face to face and were able to say, no, you are due for viral load, and just locate them or just direct them to the viral load bleeding corner. And then the other lesson then was that clients that were due for viral load had their samples drawn on the same day of drug pickup. So that actually reduced the number of clients that were missed from drug pickup as compared to the clients that were being directed to OPD room 16 for bleeding. We also learned that fewer clients 16 for bleeding because now clients are receiving. And then the other lesson that we learned, providing services under one roof, actually were actually able to collect viral load samples from all clients that had presented to the facility for drug pickups, as we were now offering all services under one roof and we were not missing any clients. Thank you. I'll stop sharing now.
Wow.
Thank you.
So Billy, maybe you can tell me why you're impressed with Jackie's and their team's test of change. So Billy typed into the chat, he said he can see I'm impressed.
I hope you will tell me why you were impressed as well.
Billy, what did you like? What did you like?
Well, to begin with, I noticed that their test of change is very simple and straightforward, and it's very effective. You know, it's something that is guaranteed to produce results. And I noticed that it's something that came about from the fact that they actually noticed a gap or something that was actually causing a problem. And their test of change was a way of solving that problem. I think that's just about it.
Oh, Billy, you said it exactly, exactly. She used the tools, she used her process mapping, and they found a gap. They said, now let's fix it by addressing it by a test of change. So lovely connections there, Jackie. Great job. The other thing I really loved and noticed is that she said she redesigned her patient flow. So that's an important factor to think about. Pushing the easy button, right? Making it easy for the clients to do the right thing while they're at the clinic, while they're getting their drugs collected, not making them wander all over and take multiple steps around where they're going to get lost or give up or whatever. I noticed that. Katie also has a comment. So Katie, go ahead.
So I just want to point out that by adding a corner, you know, it sounds easy. Many people will put it under just do it. But as Jackie said, by adding that, you need to redesign your patient flow. So you are re-engineering your process. So that's very important. It's just by implement simple, small change, but that will impact your processes. So you need to revisit and create a new process. So I want to highlight that. Well done, Jackie. Congratulations to the team.
Yes. So I wanted to show you, Jackie kindly sent us pictures of their corner there and how she was working through that. So excellent.
Thank you.
And then with her impact effort grid, she had some things that were some just do it's, but as Katie pointed out, when you have a process change, it may seem like a just do it, but it wasn't. So, and then I wanted to ask you, Jackie, about your weekly cohort cleaning. How are you doing that? And is that really a just do it?
Thank you, Barbara, for that. I think Katie did highlight that since it actually takes a long time, so it might not actually be a just do it. I think we would have to move that into the do it in the third quadrant. So with the weekly cohort cleaning, we're just looking at the appointment diary, because during booking of our clients, it is when we're going to plan or diarize our clients that are coming for their next review visit. So during that, we're going to document to say this client is coming for drug pickup as well as a viral load sample collection if they're due. So at the end of the day or at the end of the week, we're just going through our diary and finding out all the clients that have got codes. Code 1 and 3 means that this client is coming for is coming for drug pickup. At the same time, they're coming for a viral load. So at the end of the week, we look in our diary and see how many clients were actually due for a viral load and drug pickup, and then versus the number of clients that actually came and were bled for a viral load. And then we're able to pick who did not come for a viral load sample collection at the end of the week on a Friday. And then you're able to either get a hold of the client just to remind them to say, no, you did not come for your drug pickup as well as your viral load sample collection. So that's just weekly cleaning and just seeing if our clients that were due actually came for the sample collection. End of the week, we're able to identify those that did not come and send a reminder or a phone call to just find out to say how come they did not come for their viral load, and just remind them to come sometime next week. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Jackie. And again, those of you who may be just starting an appointment system like the team we talked to previously, listen in, learn, get some details, maybe reach out to Jackie. as you're building an appointment system, because that is that's a key change that we can, all the teams should really be implementing. So thank you, Jackie. Applause to you and your team. So very well done.
So
Thank you.
Barbara, Anna Leslie is back. I know you haven't finished with her because you want to revisit her green book. And that's.
Yeah, go ahead, Katie, just ask, because I know you reviewed the case as well.
I actually don't, I don't remember the detail,
okay.
but she's back on. So if you want to continue with her.
Yeah, just quickly, I think we're nearing the end of our time, but Annalise, we had asked about your green books, and is that an additional project that you decided to do, or is that something that is related to your finding the clients who are eligible? So maybe you'll just share what you're doing with your green books.
So we are saying with my green books, it's part of the gaps that I have identified, because we have realized that as facility staff were collecting viral load, they were not documenting anyway in the green book. And that's where we find the record of those clients who had viral load collected. So we had to have the appointment system and our green books aligned together, so that after they've actually listed their clients, they would go and pull the green books, so that as they collect the viral load, they are able to document in the green book that the sample has been collected. And after they've received the results again, they have to document in the green book. Because once they provide a service and they fail to document, the service not rendered. So we have no way to actually see whether this service was offered to the client or not. So as the client will be coming for their reviews, they are able to see the gaps which are still with a particular client. So that's the reason why we have actually included the green books.
And that may also, that's probably not a just do it either, right? You may have to understand, kind of go through that whole DMAIC process. What's the problem? Why is the problem occurring? Your fishbone, understand the important causes of the problem, and then maybe address those as well. So it seems like it should be a just do it, but maybe not. So I'll leave you with that to continue to work on. So a big thank you to all of the teams. And now I want to move on very quickly and do just a rapid fire project critique. So you as a faculty or a coach, you need to do two things. When you're working with a team and you're implementing a quality improvement project, you need to be able to see issues. And you need to find them early so you can course correct the team. But you also need to know how to redirect the team. That's where your experience, your learning comes in. How can you help the teams? You can recognize something wrong, but how can you help the teams to correct it, to move forward, to course correct? So I've got a little, we've got a poll for you today, and hopefully this is going to work well. So here's your first question. Which one represents team roles? So you can pick A or B. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the polls now. Okay, so I'm launching my poll, and we're going to be rapid fire. This is quick since we're running out of time. Which one represents a team role? Okay, there are roles listed here, but choose A or B. Which one is the role of teams? The team role, either A or B. All right, 2 of 55 have voted. So guys, you have to get fast on your fingers. We're gonna vote quickly and move rapidly through these. Now I've got 8 of 55 who voted. So get your voting fingers out. Okay, so right now, 24% of you have voted. So in the interest of time, we're going to end this poll. 27% of you have voted. Okay, and here are the results. So it's almost neck and neck. About 50% of you said A and about 50% of you said B. So those of you who said B are right. So I think there's a bit of confusion about what the team role is. You may be a phlebotomist, but you might be the team lead. The team role is who's the champion, who's the team leader, who's the coach, who's the data manager. And then once you get to the frontline team members, identify what they do. That's not a problem. But the team role is not your job description. So go to the workbook and review what actually is a team role. And Katie, you have a comment?
Right. So I think we should have defined what, because the team can mean any kind of team. What you meant by team is this the QI team.
Yes.
Because on the A can also be correct, but what you mean is the QI team roles. Over.
Okay, thank you. Yes, and A is more like of a job description. And if you're a frontline team member, you certainly want to add that in. But I just want to clarify that on the team roles, we really want to know who's the team lead, who's your coach, who's your data manager, because there's specific team responsibilities that go with those roles. So just a little clarification there. I noticed there may have been some questions around that. All right, so we're going to stop sharing and we're going to go to the next poll. All right, we're going to launch the poll and we're going to move to the, just a reminder here that you can find the roles and responsibilities of the team roles and responsibilities in the LARC workbook. All right, which one represents a detailed process table? You can choose A or B. You have a 50-50 chance. Which one represents a detailed process table? Five of you have voted, so vote quickly. We have 7 of these. We want to move through quickly and get some rapid fire critique. So you as a coach and a faculty member will want to be able to critique projects and then help teams improve. So 26% of you have voted, so we're going to end the poll, share the results. Wow, this one's 60-40. And 60% of you said A and 40% of you said B. So the A's have it. And we shared an example today of a very detailed process table. When you only have 3 steps on your process table, that is not enough detail. Because as we've learned today, once you see and understand your process, then you can figure out how to improve your process. So A is a detailed process table. And for those of you who are my A+ students, what is missing from this process table? It's very detailed, but is there anything missing from this process table?
I think there is no time.
No time, yes. It's nice to estimate the time. What else? There's 3 columns that are missing. So time is 1. What are the other 2? You can open your mic and answer like Billy did, or you can type into the chat box.
Does it indicate the responsible person?
The responsible person. Excellent. Okay. What else? Well, I think they have. Okay, Zadwa, or someone speaking and we're missing what?
Opportunity
Opportunities for improvement.
Opportunities for improvement. That's a key column. That's why we do one of the reasons we do the process map. So exactly, that one is missing. So if you have an abbreviated process map, go ahead and add in the.
Sundani Moyo also said forms used.
Yes. Excellent. If I had candy, you would be getting candy now. You have to get virtual candy. All right, let's move on to our next poll. I will launch it. All right, this one's going to be a tough question. Does this next slide capture the voice of the customer? Okay, so take a look at this one and let me know if it captures the voice of the customer. This is a hard one. You may have a couple more minutes. Okay, if you say yes, that's good. If you say no, you need to tell me what it does capture. Right, 8 of you have voted. This one's a little tougher question. Does this one capture the voice of the customer? 12 of you have voted. Twenty of you have voted. Okay, we've had a minute. So we're going to end the poll. This one is also pretty much neck and neck. Half of you say yes, half of you say no. So I will say that this one does not capture the voice of the customer. This actually captures your project data. So be careful that you get the right piece of information in the right place in your report. Okay, we're moving on to poll 4. I'll launch the poll and then we'll get the, okay. What is placed at the head of the fish in the fishbone diagram? You have 4 choices here. And hope you, yeah, people are starting to vote. All right, 5 of you have voted, 8 of you have voted. What is placed at the head of the fish in the fishbone diagram? All right, 28 of you have voted. Oh, we're getting more people voted, 51%. Okay, so we'll end that poll. I will share the results. And 87% of you are exactly 100% right. The problem statement goes at the head of the fish, not the cause of the problem. The fish may want some bait, but that is not the correct answer. And the voice of the customer is not the correct answer. So 87% of you, great job. All right, next poll. Which one has the problem statement at the head of the fish? You have choices, A or B. Which one has the problem statement at the head of the fish? Oh, launch poll. Here we go. Sorry, launch the poll. All right, 55% of you have voted, so we'll end the poll and we will share the results. And 69% of you said B, and 31% of you said A. So if A is not the problem statement, what is at the head of the fish in A? Any thoughts? Let you ponder on that for a moment. Someone's responding.
So Edison said process.
Process, okay. And I also think that that may be one of the causes of the problem, but probably not the problem.
So Annalesi said cause of the problem.
Yes.
Amin Du said cause to the problem.
Excellent, excellent.
Mildred said why.
Okay, all right. So you guys are honing your coaching skills. All right, here is the next poll. Which one is a run chart? All right, 37% of you have voted. So we're going to end this poll since our time is running out. 100% of you said that the B is a run chart. 100% of you are correct. And run charts are what we're going to use when we come to quality improvement projects because they show results over time. So, all right, one more poll. You guys having fun yet? All right, so the next question is, which one has a data box? Which one includes a data box? I guess I should say a completed data box. All right, 44% of you have voted. We will end the poll, share the results. I agree with 92% of you that said the data box. The other one may have had a data box, but there was not any data in it. But the data box is very key. You tell me you have a percentage, but I need to see your actual numbers. So this one has a data box, has the numerator and the denominator. So that's also a very important part of any run chart. So just a reminder, as a faculty or coach, you need to recognize the problem, but then you need to help the team correct the problem so they can have a successful project with measurable results. All right, so looking ahead, our deliverables this time are more tests of change. So next week, we're coming back in 1 week because we just really appreciated hearing what other teams are testing. That is how this learning collaborative is going to work. And I hope if you have questions or heard something that interests you today or you want to learn more, you can reach out to that person and get some clarity. So more tests of change, but once you create the test of change, you're going to want to create the standard work. You want to create a SOP, a standard operating procedure, and then you want to create that future state map. The map that shows the old changes and the new changes. Jackie mentioned that today, a patient flow changed, the process changed. So
So Barbara, you didn't mean, when you say old changes, you meant old process and new process, right? Not old changes. Yes, just want to make sure. Yes.
Appreciate that. So can quickly show you an example where you have, let me share my screen very quickly. We can close out the polls. just want to show you here an example of a process map where you have the before process and now you have your new improved process. It's really great if you can squeeze them on.
Barbara, we are not looking at that slide. We are back to the deliverables improve slide.
Oh, sorry, must have. What are you seeing now?
Yes, we are seeing a small two process before and after.
Okay, perfect. So that is an example of how you want your future state map to be. You want to show what you're doing differently, and then you want to clarify exactly how those changes are going to be standardized going forward by creating an SOP. So if you're still testing changes and you haven't yet reached your goal, then continue to test changes till you get a package that will work for you and that you can standardize. And then standardize that with a standardized operating procedure and then an updated process map. So that's your assignment this week. I want to have time. We have about 8 minutes. So if you have questions, I'm going to stop sharing. So really appreciate the interaction today. I see there's a lot of interaction in the chat box. Thanks for monitoring that. And just another shout out to our teams for presenting today. That we just learned so much today. So we're going to do this again very next week. We're going to have at least another 4 teams sharing what they're working on. So Jackie is giving some applause. Katie's giving a thumbs up. Definitely share some love with those who presented today. I'm going to give some applause out as well. And we're just open. We have a few more minutes, so we're going to open it up for questions, comments. What did you learn today? Tendai is giving some applause. Nice. Mildred Mano's question was not answered. Okay, can someone who's been monitoring the chat box, Katie, maybe help? Or Mildred Mano, you can just open your mic and ask your question. Because I haven't been monitoring the chat. Or Thilani, do you know what Mildred's question is? You can open your mic.
I think she was asking why an unstable and reliable transport is a process, not a problem. I think that's what she responded soon after someone sent a message to say it's a process.
Okay, so is that clarified? That is probably a cause of the problem. We want the problem statement at the head of the fish, and then the unreliable transport would definitely be part of the causes and probably in the process stage. But the problem statement goes at the head of the fish so we don't miss any of the causes. Does that make sense? Okay, other questions, comments? Are you clear on what you will continue to work on over this next week? Are you clear that we will meet again in 1 week? This is unusual, but we just wanted to give time to share all these changes that people are testing so more of you can get engaged in this. If you're struggling or you don't know what to do, reach out to your faculty. We really want to get people improving. And the way you improve is you test some changes and you test some more and you test some more. All right.
Fortunate and patience, maybe it's time to launch the survey link in the chat box, please.
And again, I hope that we have shared with you how much we appreciate you sharing your comments and how we have attempted to respond to those. Jafet is giving a shout out in the chat box to the teams that presented today. Koba Clinic, Highfields Poly, Hoana Lab, and Lupani. Definitely great effort. And we just appreciate you taking the effort to share with us.
And I hope that all of you, when you receive the survey link, I wish that you all would go there and complete the survey. It takes only 2 minutes, and we really appreciate your feedback by responding to the survey. Thank you.
And not all of the ideas we can implement at one time, but we definitely appreciate them, and they are well noted. Tawanda says it was a very vibrant session, enjoyed, and learning took place. Thank you so much.
So Patience has launched the survey link in the chat box. If you actually click on that link, it will take you to the website and then just before you do anything else, before you leave your desk, just complete that survey so you won't need to worry about it later.
So we have 54 people online. Jafet is raising his hand. Jafet?
Okay, I just want to make a quick announcement, if it's okay with you.
Yes, please.
Okay. So we are planning for our learning session 1, and these are the dates for the learning sessions. These are going to be physical face-to-face meetings, and I'm sure I think before the end of the day we will have received official communication from the ministry pertaining to this learning session. So we have grouped provinces so as to manage the COVID numbers, but I just thought it would be good if I take this opportunity to inform the House of the upcoming events. Over.
Thank you, Jafet. This is exciting that you will be able to meet in person. I wish we could meet with you, maybe soon. But I think we have an opportunity. We'll be able to meet with some of you remotely, but I wish we could be there in person.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Javed. I appreciate that. We've got some comments from patients. Kindly click on the link before leaving the meeting. Otella said session interactive and informative. Learning happened with each session. So that's awesome. We had look like at least 54 of you online today. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy day to join us. Again, our goal is that this is a joyous time and a time for learning. And we just thank you for taking your time to join us. We'll say farewell now. We'll ask the faculty if they can stay by for a brief that's required. The recording is stopping. So well done teams. Thank you so much.